two, three, four.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Roll right into our next block here at the top of the hour with Mr. Jonathan Sweet, who's going to help us kind of change perspectives a little bit, pick up where we left off yesterday. Good morning, Jonathan, dialing in there from Pulaski County. How are you?
Good morning, Dan. I'm well. I hope you are.
I am. I'm feeling real good, even though it's 3 days of amazing solar renaissancing and St. Patty's Day last night. I'm feeling better than I should, maybe. But it's all this good stuff that's going on, but also all of the positive developments overcoming the challenges. You know, I'm an old brownfield guy, and it's all been problem solving my whole career. And even though, you know, now we have all these incredible opportunities to seize, these are still real projects. And nobody knows that better than you. We're so glad you could join us today. I know you're a super busy guy, you know, literally leading the Renaissance from the bottom up, the ground up, as we like to say here at this ground mounted solar power conference. And we've got you to really talk about, you know, one of the biggest, brightest projects, not just in Virginia, but in the whole country, certainly in the region. So I just kind of want to turn it over to you now and let you tell everybody exactly what you've been doing and how you managed to overcome, you know, your particular project pitfalls on the pathway to solar power redevelopment, or development, actually. It's a greenfield, excuse me.
Absolutely. Can you see my screen?
You look good. I can still see the PowerPoint if you want to click the presenter button up there.
Let's see.
And you sound good too.
The presenter button.
It's that little kind of
just to play the slideshow. It looks like an old school projector screen just above the home button.
Got it. How about there?
Got it. Yes, sir.
All right.
Beautiful.
Still learning the Zoom every day. And I've of course done Zoom a lot, and I've spoke at a lot of various functions and events, but this is my first engagement speaking on Zoom. So you guys be patient with me, as well as this is my first time talking about our project. I just got permitted in January. So very fresh, very new.
Congratulations.
Quickly though,
thank you.
How many of y'all have been to Pulaski County, Virginia?
One time.
Right? Dan has.
Drop it in the chat.
Drop it in the chat or use the raise hand button. I'll let you know, Jonathan, what the tally is.
Yeah, we're not in meetings, so you can't see everybody. You can just see the presenters here, unfortunately. Yeah.
Springing up. I just told my team it's one of my favorite places.
I love to hear that. It's one of my favorite places as well. There's so many cool features about us, and that's what we're going to do this morning, is just take a quick look, a quick glance at Pulaski County's green government vision, and then specifically our experiences with a utility scale solar project. For those of you that don't know me, this is a quick bio about myself. My big claim to fame is I became the youngest county administrator in the Commonwealth of Virginia at 24 years of age, and started my career in county administration in Bland County, Virginia, which is now contiguous to where I'm at now. Over 20 years of experience in local government leadership. I've served in 5 different counties. Was named a next generation leader, but that was a long time ago. I think I've already reached that next generation now. So, and I was fortunate to win a 2015 National County Leader of the Year award from American City and County Magazine. So a little bit about myself. I'm a Virginian and graduated Radford University, and just love Southwestern Virginia. And moreover, I love developing Southwest Virginia. Pulaski County, we're a triple bottom line green government philosophy here. Our vision is all about our people, our environment, and of course, what makes good business sense for the county's finance as well. A brief quote from our chairman, he stated, "We truly care about our people and quality of their future. So we strive to employ balance in all we do and work hard to foster opportunities for businesses and our citizens to enjoy prosperity without compromising the health of our community, our local economy, or our environment. Truly a sustainable approach to people, environment, and finance. With that, we've taken our solar efforts to the next level. We are a Soul Smart community and one of only 3 gold standards in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We are real proud about achieving this mark. Some of our existing green energy assets that we have already in the county is the Claytor Lake Dam, which is owned by Appalachian Power. It's a 75 megawatt hydro production plant, as well as a 3.6 megawatt methane conversion plant, and it's operated by a third party at a regional landfill. So we're capturing that methane gas and converting it to energy. In addition to hydro and methane conversion, we're currently working with Apex Energy on a 150 megawatt plus or minus wind farm project, and it is to be located right on the Pulaski County, Floyd County line. We've got some studies where Floyd is the windiest county in Virginia. And so we've got a single landowner, which happens to be the Boy Scouts, who are working with Apex on siting that project there. It's a single property owner. They're in the process of securing right of ways, and we've got some Met towers up testing the wind. With technology advancements, that project could get much larger than 150 megawatts. But if you think about this project, the methane conversion, the hydro, and then with a utility scale solar farm, we're going to be very diverse in renewable energy production here in the county. And that's important to us because we are Southwest Virginia's Center for International Business. We have 9 international companies here in the county, and it affects approximately 15,000 jobs downline with supply chain. Volvo Trucks is probably the most notable of our international companies. It's a Swedish company, and renewable energy and reduced carbon footprint is at the forefront of their manufacturing processes. So they are already ISO 14001 environmental certified, ISO 50001 energy standards. These are pictures of their manufacturing plant. You'll see that they've already installed solar power. They also have a wind turbine on their property as well. As of September of last year, we had 36 residential solar projects or solar systems in the county, and that equates to about 250,000 watts of solar power being produced for residential use. Just under $1.2 million worth of investment in solar by our citizens. So you can see that solar is of growing interest to our community, and our folks are making those investments. It's important that a community has a stated solar position. This is on our website. It is a letter signed by myself, and more specifically, it needs to talk about residential, but there also needs to be a focus on utility scale. The community needs to make that statement to effectively fertilize the environment for those types of projects. You can see that we want to leverage our Soul Smart designation to not only streamline solar permitting processes for our residents and commercial and industrial installations, but also you can see we want to educate ourselves and prepare our community for utility scale solar opportunities. Furthermore, we want to market our community as a solar friendly locality, and I'll talk a little bit about that, more about that here in a moment. And then you can see we actually reference our comprehensive plan, policy 1.2.11, and its support of sustainable building practices, energy efficiency, and renewable energy development. So it's a stated goal with our comp plan. All of those things tie together and come back around to formulating our vision and our approach. This is just a quick, very small snapshot of some of the resources. There's a lot on there, but this is just what I could fit on a slide. Resources for our citizens who want to access solar, and we want to make it as convenient for them as possible, but we also want to make sure we're doing a good job of educating them on what solar means and the opportunities that it bodes. In addition, on that tab on our website, it's on our homepage, we also have focus on utility scale. We want to make sure our citizens know what utility scale projects are and the benefits of them and the myths of them, and just all of the health and safety debunks that any community looking to do a utility scale solar project will come across. Our triple bottom line green government objectives are simple. They're to save our taxpayers money through true green ROIs, true triple green projects that not only are good for the environment, good for our citizens, but also help make the county some money, and particularly in the realm of economic development or new revenue streams. We want to enjoy a distinction and competitive advantage effectively from being one of the greenest energy producing communities per capita in the country. I mean, obviously the region will have that pretty easily. The state, there's no question. We think this is the third largest solar farm on the eastern seaboard. So with that, you add our hydro, you add our methane, you add apex wind to the project. Without a doubt, per capita, we could be one of the leaders in the country. And with that, we want to become a competitive site location option for the technology sectors, looking for triple green certifications for data centers, or has a strong ESG focus. So these projects effectively translate directly into investment and revenues and jobs for our community. We want to, of course, become home to more international and domestic green and environmentally aware companies, particularly in the technology, food production, distribution, advanced manufacturing sectors. We have companies right here that both domestic and international that focus on reducing their carbon footprint. But we also have companies like MOVA Technologies, who is investing in technology that helps capture carbon from fossil fuels. So we're burning that candle at both ends and the middle here in Pulaski County with not only advancing renewables, but trying to find ways of cleaning fossil sources as well. And of course, you always want to create a community understanding and pride around green investments and initiatives. You want to celebrate the good things, and a lot of times, if it's not understood, it's hard to celebrate. So it's about awareness, and we've been doing, we think, a very good job with our social media platforms, with interviews, etc., explaining the opportunities that green investments bring. And then we want to open new doors, identify new and unique opportunities we have not even fathomed yet, right? Boldly go where no community has gone before. And then it's all incumbent of us to make a meaningful difference in our respective roles as local government leaders. So that brings us to a utility scale solar development. The Board of Supervisors effectively just approved a special use permit to Hecate Energy to construct a 300 plus or minus megawatt utility scale solar farm. And this project is huge. It is almost 2,700 acres of property that an array will be placed upon. Interestingly enough, though, it's only 8 property owners. So these were patchworked together, which I think is a new construct. from 8 different property owners to cobble together the 2,700 acres. Pulaski County is well suited. The further you go west of us, the more topography and grade issues you have. The further you go east, the higher the price point on leases are. And so we really are in that sweet spot of attracting these types of projects. Again, I'll show you the map of the residential and green utility or solar systems in the county. And then when we add the utility scale, this is this is what our map will look like. It's a pretty substantial project. So this is the meat. Why pursue a utility scale solar project? Well, for our business retention and expansion in our economic development world, our existing international domestic industry value this and expect this, and this is going to be the new landscape, right? And if they're looking at, you've got Volvo Mack Truck as an example, they're looking at doing expansions. Is it going to happen in Macungie, or is it going to happen here in Pulaski County? When we create this much renewable energy and it fits their corporate goals, we have a higher probability of securing expansions. And then of course there's business attraction. You know, we want to differentiate ourselves to win competitive projects, and we actually have projects in our project pipeline right now who are looking for sites that meet their ESG standards and goals. So we are actually pre-marketing what we've done in utility scale solar to our prospective clients. This is also going to be a new guaranteed revenue stream to the county, which means new investment opportunities. We've been trying to figure out how to develop, for example, a new community center and other community assets. Well, this is a way to service that debt. It is a fixed guaranteed income stream that we can convert to debt and service that debt long term. And then of course have community impact and benefit. So one project can then benefit the entire community through a community center asset. Economic development to Pulaski County also means creating an environment that's conducive for citizen prosperity. So not just business and industry and traditional economic development, but all the way down to individual citizens. This project, because of the lease revenues, will have a cash infusion to our participating landowners. Those landowners are farmers, they're small business owners, they're local investors. So there's a long-term residual benefit from supporting projects like this because of those landowners who will benefit from revenues. And then the direct and ancillary jobs created during construction and the local impact it will have. We've learned through COVID, there was threats to sales tax and lodging tax, et cetera. We've had a tremendous amount of construction taking place to a $48 million middle school, a $400 million project at Volvo we announced in 2019. Phoenix Packaging just finished up their $50 million expansion. Patent Logistics is currently constructing their 350,000 square foot distribution center, et cetera, et cetera. So we've actually seen an increase in sales tax and meals tax during COVID, and we believe a lot of it is bolstered by the construction taking place. So this will effectively have 350 full-time equivalent jobs, both direct and ancillary, during the construction period, which will further help to stabilize and bolster our local economy. Then of course it's a win-win-win, right? Virginia's renewable energy portfolio wins, the utility providers win, Pulaski County as a whole wins, and the private landowners who lease the property win. So that's the why. And one of my favorite sayings from one of the public speakers who spoke at one of the public hearings, he quite frankly said, "It's the future." And we know that. So what we learned, and I think these are some good takeaways, the public misconceptions is that this is not, that they kept thinking this is a public transaction. This is actually a business to business transaction. It is a private company doing business with, forgive me, thought I had her on vibrate. This is actually a business to business transaction. There's no public land involved in this project. And it was hard for our citizens to really understand that until we got pretty deep into the public comment period. All of our agricultural zone districts allow utility scale solar farms within them. They only require a special use permit. So folks thought that we had to rezone the property to accommodate this, and that wasn't that wasn't accurate. It only requires a special use permit, so they are allowed within all of our districts. Of course, there's always the fear of the unknown, right? We found out that it's often worse when they get their information from someplace else, and the hyperbole, and so it's important that our developers explain fully what are solar photovoltaics. Make sure they explain and do a good job at the macro level first before they get into the details. They really need to explain to the citizenry what is a utility scale solar project, and then of course go deeper into the details and specifics about the project with the public. This is important. This is a land lease, not a land purchase. There's retention of land ownership. And a lot of the folks in the community, a lot of the folks who fought against the project did not understand that. They thought we were selling away 2,700 acres of Pulaski County, and that wasn't the case. It is being leased, and there's actually going to be a higher level of care on the property with this lease, because the current landowners are still going to own it. So they're going to make sure that the lease and all of the care to the land are very to the letter of the law, and the leasee is going to be a good steward of the property. You can continue to enjoy farming applications, right? Sheep, pollinators, and with technology and creativity, there's a lot of other opportunities out there to commingle farming with the harvest of sun. A tip we learned from the Planning Commission's public hearing: always continue to evolve the public presentation by addressing in advance all those things you learned, the concerns, the questions during that PC meeting, and then make sure you include that in advance in the Board of Supervisors public hearing presentation, because ultimately that is where the true decision lies. So legitimate concerns you've got to deal with, right? These are the real concerns. The view shed, negative visual impact. We heard a lot of that. That was probably one of the biggest concerns from our citizens. And we've got to make sure that the proper buffering and the proper natural vegetation, all of those things are included and explained in the SUP and in the SUP process. Negatively impacts property values of neighboring properties. This was a concern. We did some research. Our Commissioner of Revenue opined on that. It appears that there is a small hit early on in the project, but the values return within 3 to 5 years following installation of the solar panels. The environmental impact concerns, I mean, they were worried about groundwater and et cetera. Well, there's actually not going to be any, cattle defecating and fertilizer and pesticides and all of those things that impact not only groundwater, but also deep water. So the actual misconception is this would have a negative environmental impact, but in fact, it tends to have a positive environmental impact. The electromagnetic field, we heard all about that. So experts had to come and explain that there really is no risk there. The loss of prime farmland and local farm production is a concern and should be a concern for every community. At the end of the day, though, if these farmers are choosing not to farm anymore, it's going to be something other than prime farmland anyway. And a lot of these folks don't have a succession plan that is going to allow them to continue to operate. And so effectively, this has become their succession plan for retention of ownership and ultimately passing it down to their children. There was the glare effect at the airport and aviation. That was a serious concern because this project's going right next to the airport. We mitigated that through a study, and the airport signed off on it. Loss of natural habitat and impact to hunting was some legitimate concerns from our citizens. And then, of course, the expectation that the county as professional staff remain agnostic. It's hard to when your job is to advance economic development. As not only the county administrator, I'm the chief economic development officer, so it's important that I continue to advance economic development and create new revenue streams to the county to keep our property taxes low and provide the highest quality of life at the lowest expense for our citizens. So the bad and the ugly. I think I've talked about the good 3 slides ago, so I just want to share the bad and the ugly real quick. Right, the NIMBYs and the NIMBYists, they're there, and they will show up for utility scale solar projects, particularly those of this size. The mentalities, a lot of it was selfish mentalities. We saw some of that. If I don't benefit, you don't benefit, and they actually tried to leverage their support for personal benefit. And I won't go into too much detail there, but you guys have my contact information. I'll be happy to share more directly.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're short on time, but
are we short on time?
But keep going. No, please finish. Yeah, this is. I'm hanging on every word.
There was some jealousy and personalities and pre-existing neighborly disputes that showed up in a big way and actually played out during the public hearing. The increases, the cost of leasable farm acreage within the county, right? You reduce the availability. The next thing you know, it increases the prices for them. The loss of ability to personally purchase, to utilize acreage. We actually had folks wanting to buy that acreage and the owners wouldn't sell it because they were leasing it for solar. It removes the acreage for future development and subdivision opportunities. Of course, it limits contiguous property owners from expanding their farming operations onto those properties. Personal preferences and philosophical platitudes. We heard from folks that you would have thought would have celebrated this project, but for whatever personal reasons, they chose to voice their objection. And then the conspiracy theories that Chinese were purchasing, owned Hecate and were purchasing the power. At the end of the day, Appalachian Power is going to be the ones purchasing the power. Then, of course, small ball politics, and that's a whole conversation in itself. Quick takeaways, guys. Be prepared to respond to FOIA requests. We've got the second largest FOIA request in the history of the county because of this. The Freedom of Information Sunshine Laws, holy cow, it was inundating. Be prepared for split decisions of the board and of the Planning Commission. Neither the Planning Commission or the board was unanimous in their decisions. Be prepared for abstentions. In small communities like this, it's hard for there not to be a conflict of interest when you're talking about 2,700 acres on either the Planning Commission or the Board of Supervisors. So look out for COIAs, look out for them early. Be prepared for social media juggernauts. There was a launch of Save Pulaski County Farms, and there was this huge push on social media to shut this project down. Be prepared for gaslighting effect. Again, we had folks that would have otherwise celebrated solar, but because of some gaslighting, they actually spoke against it. Be prepared for local media's approach. They love these types of things to sensationalize them. And it's a very delicate balance. Always know your role. There's a role for local government and there's a role for the developers. Don't do the developer's job. And that helps you stay somewhat balanced and neutral. Unfortunately, if you do a project of this size, be prepared to lose some friends. Unfortunately, I did my job, and you work for the citizens who want it and the citizens who don't. And unfortunately, sometimes they take those things personal. And unfortunately, be prepared to grow some more gray hair. And if you can see this patch right here, is from this particular project because it was a tremendous heavy lift.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. Just total dynamite. I mean, you said it all. Yeah, congratulations on earning the most notes that I've taken you know, from dunks and hyperbole to the economic development angle, you know, as a competitive advantage. You managed to sneak in ESG. I wish we could dive further onto the future value of these projects. We're thinking about it right now. Oh, some of these going for pollinators cost a little bit extra, but what about think about 10 years from now, you know, the algorithm might be a little bit different on how we're measuring some of these, you know, environmentally abundant and productive spaces. So thank you enough. So we're going to keep very close watch of everything that you're doing. Congratulations. It's a tremendous accomplishment. Keep preaching the word. You're making the business case, and it's so important. And I know that everyone is chasing down the trail that you have blazed. So maybe we'll get you in person in 2022. I think we could do a whole hour on this, and your lessons learned and takeaways are so vital. So thank you so much, Jonathan. Keep up the good work down there. Yep.
Thank you. Take good care.
You bet. And I really want to apologize to our next guys, but we just made our 5-minute buffer, so they'll still get their time. And it's a perfect segue. Everything Jonathan was just dialing up so perfectly. I know that they were all standing by and listening. We call it the solar work study, but there's Southwest Virginia is kind of the unofficial focus geography of the summit this year.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.